Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and today we're going to be building a Foundations sealed deck out of a pre-release pack from start to finish. I'm going to keep the camera rolling the whole time and just show you everything that I do from start to finish so you can see exactly how I build a sealed deck. So I just cracked open this pre-release pack, and inside I got 6 booster packs that we'll build our deck from, and our pre-release card, which is Electro Duplicate. We'll see if we can find the right thing for this. Maybe, maybe not, we'll find out. But let's crack open these 6 packs and see what we get. So the first thing I like to do, and this is something I recommend to do to just help out your stores, is I just crack open the packs and then put all the cards in a single stack. And the reason you want to do this, I know you're probably eager to go check out what's inside your packs, but you can do that in a second, keep them in the same order. But I like opening them all at once because it lets your store owner or judge come by and pick up all the trash. So that way you're not doing this kind of gradual thing where you create some trash, they come by to pick it up, you make more trash, they come by to pick it up. You're gonna make all your trash happen in one fell swoop. It's nice and easy. And all right, here we go. We got our stack of cards. Now let's see what we got. So what I start doing from here is I just start sorting them by color. If we want to take out any tokens or art cards like this, we'll set those off to the side. I'm gonna start sorting these by color. So the way I do it, lots of people do it different ways. Oh, I got one of these signed art cards. I always take those out. I just do it color by color. So I kind of go through and find all my white cards, and I'm gonna make a stack of them, and then you'll do the same for blue and black and so on and so forth. Now, many people prefer to just go one card at a time. I've always argued that I believe my system is faster. Many people strongly disagree with this. I will make a video, I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I will make a video at some point where I compare the two systems and I do the same sealed pool right next to each other, but I haven't done it yet. It's on my list, it's on my list to do for sure. But I don't know, I just always find this personally faster, or at least it's what I'm more used to. So we're gonna go through all the cards, sort them by color, and then what we're gonna kind of do is we're gonna look through all of our colors and kind of identify what the strong stuff we have is. Now in Limited, you're often looking for, in Limited is sealed deck or booster draft, you're often looking for a few different things. The first thing you're looking for, of course, is just generally strong cards. You know, you're really strong rare, something like that. All that is really good, of course. You're happy to do that. But the kind of the bread and butter of what you're gonna want if you're playing Limited is removal, so stuff that kills off your opponent's creatures, that's very important. And also evasion, right? Creatures that can break through, because a lot of games, especially in a sealed deck, will just gum up on the ground, and then you want to just be able to get through in the air or with an unblockable creature, something like that, to help deal damage. Even a big trampling creature can be helpful. I see we got a Chandra here, so that's pretty exciting. Speaking of exciting rares to crack, that might point us in a direction, but we'll see. You know, sometimes you can have a really strong rare, but if the rest of the color doesn't support it, it's not the way to go. So let's see, we got our green. Ooh. Now you might know some of these are stacks. Oh, I missed a black card in there. Some of these stacks are very different sizes. And you might be like, oh, I want to play the color that has more cards than another in it. Well, it's not necessarily always true, right? Because at the end, we're looking to play about 23 spells and 17 lands. And it doesn't really matter if you're, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if you're leaving, 10 cards in your sideboard or 0 cards in your sideboard for your colors. If they are, just sorting out my cards here. Doesn't matter if you leave their colors if there are if you have enough cards to play, right? So even though sometimes a color can't be deep, you might have the cards you need, although having more cards and being deep is certainly a strong indicator that it will have more stuff for you to do. Okay, so now let's kind of go through, I'm gonna line these all up here. I even put them in nice white, blue, black, red, green order. Let's go through here and just look at our cards and see what we got going on. So let's kind of look through our white cards, see what we have. Healer Stock is an okay flyer. This is really good. I only really like Healer Stock if I have equipment or +1/+1 counters, so. Helpful Hunter, a 2-mana cantrip creature. It's fine, but nothing I'm going to be too wild about. Now this is nice. This is 1 mana removal spell, 3 damage to attacking or blocking creature. You also pick up a life, but really 1 mana for 3 damage is great. 5 mana kill off a tapped creature, 5 mana kill off anything, 2 mana kill off a tapped creature. Solid card. This is a nice go wide card, so when we say go wide, we mean get a lot of creatures into play and attack. It's pretty nice if we think we have the cards to do that. This is another good go wide card. If you don't want to play a ton of 5-drops in your deck, but kind of trying to make a mana curve. But this is an all right card. Another just creature, good for the go wide strategy though. Now here is a very strong card, Celestial Armor. Talking about bombs right here, because this is a bomb that gives you evasion. It's a 3 mana cost equipment. It attaches, and so it's what we call snap on. It snaps on immediately. and it gives the creature hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and the creature gets +2/+0 and flying. So you play this, you snap it onto a creature, maybe you win a combat or something because of it, and then it gets +2/+0 and flying after that, and you can re-equip. So equipment are generally quite strong and limited if they're good at all, and this one definitely strong. We have the Sunblessed Healer, which is a 2-mana 3/1 lifelink, which is already, by the way, pretty exciting, and it's got the upside of Kicker to bring something back. Another Healer's Hawk. I'll call out the Healer's Hawk. Good with equipment. I know this already grants flying, but just creating a 3-power lifelinker is pretty strong. Putting this on this also pretty strong, right? 5-power lifelinker. We've got the Cat Collector, which if you can gain some life, can make you cats. It gives you a food, so you'll probably activate it at least once. And another Helpful Hunter. Wow, so many Helpful Hunters. White looks solid. It's not the most deep. We've got a couple removal spells. We got a Go Wide card. We got Celestial Armor. We got this Lifelinker. I'd say white looks fine. We can do better, but I can imagine us doing worse. Let's see what we have in the other colors. Inspiration from Beyond is good if you're playing a spell-heavy deck, perhaps, but only really if you're doing that. I don't think you really want this card generally otherwise. You have to have a lot of stuff to get. 1 mana 0/5, I don't usually want in my deck unless I'm really defensive. Now, this is a 1 mana cantrip, so there are some cards in this set that'll care about you, say, drawing your second card in a turn. Fleeting Distraction is great for that. This is kind of a filler card, very good with your prowess stuff, but it's got prowess and surveils. This card is okay. It'll probably draw you 2 to 3 cards depending on, or maybe a little more late in the game, but if you're going to do it for that, you're probably already winning. The problem with this card I find is you can't cast it on turn 3 very often, which is often when you need to be able to hit your divinations. This lets you find a 1 mana cost spell, so we've got the Fleeting Distraction. We also have the 3 damage spell, so this card could be nice potentially if we go white-blue or otherwise. I like this card, 3 mana 2/1 flyer that makes your stuff cost a little less. Solid core set card. Homunculus Horde is a card I really enjoy. Here's that draw a second card trigger. When you draw your second card, you make a token that's a copy of it, so if you can trigger this twice in succession, you will be able to win pretty quickly. Essence Scatter is awesome. This is 2 mana removal spell, kind of. You have to have it when they play their creature, but it does also get rid of their ETB their creature could have, their Enters effect. So I value this card a lot higher than I think many do, especially in a core set kind of environment. It's really nice. Here's a draw second card matter card. So you're kind of seeing some of the themes come through here. So this is draw your second card matter. Could be good, but we have lying around. Another Mocking Sprite, I like that already. This card is okay. It does do the draw 2 cards in a turn thing, but it's kind of hard to get it to come off sometimes. So, but still, 3 mana counter spell in a core, in a slower, kind of basic core setting environment. Nice. 2 mana flash prowess creature, filler. It's okay. This card is quite nice. 6 mana 5/5 flyer, and you're going to draw a bunch of cards when it comes into play. You play a little mini game, but the end result is you'll get to draw some cards for this environment. I like that card. 1 mana counter spell for non-creature spells. Probably won't play it, but all right. And then Mocking Sprite. Yeah, I like that card. All right, so blue also looks pretty good. It looks pretty deep, which is nice. Let's take a look at black. All right, so this, if your opponent took damage this turn or lost life, you get a counter on a vampire. Okay, if you're an aggressive strategy. Removal spell, a little expensive. You have to sack a creature or pay 5, but can work. I like this kind of card if you have any kind of sacrifice deck going on. This drains them whenever your creature dies. Mediocre combat trick. We'll play it if we have to. I'm not stoked about it. Another one of these guys. Removal spell, so that's nice. I will say this is on the weaker side of removal spells, right? It's just -2, -2, but it is or weak in terms of how much it does, but for 1 mana it is very efficient, which is nice. Now Vampire Nighthawk, this is a very strong card. In the set this came out, and this is one of the strongest cards you could draft actually. Yeah, really nice, uncommon, really happy to play this. And it's a vampire, by the way, which combos really nice if we end up playing some of these guys in our deck, right? Because you can put the counter on the Nighthawk. Hungry Ghoul, okay card if you're doing sacrifice stuff. Another stab, another eaten alive, and another stab with 3 stabs. So black's got some good removal, which I like. Creature, but it's very shallow. The Nighthawk is like a good creature, but yeah. I don't know that the 3 stabs are going to be enough to get us there, but we'll keep it in mind, maybe. All right, now red has just a ton of cards. Look at that. Look at that thick stack. Okay, so what we got? Well, first of all, we got Chandra, who is quite exciting. Now, it is 7 mana, so it's a lot of mana for a Planeswalker. That says sealed deck games can get there sometimes, and if you do play this, you're going to be in pretty good shape, right? You can play her and -4 her immediately to deal 8 damage divided as you choose, which will basically kill off their whole board, and then from there, winning should be pretty instrumental. So it is 7 mana, but if you cast it, the game will likely end. So we'll keep this in mind in case we seem like we have a good long game strategy. Got this Whelp, which is a 3 mana 2/2 flyer that pings your opponents when you play non-creature spells. I like that card. Little combat trick you can play if you need to. This one is some card advantage red card, which is great. Right, when it comes in, you get to, if you attack this turn, which is pretty easy to trigger, you get to look at your top 2 and exile 1 to play next turn. Love this card, 2 mana 2/2 that also is a removal spell. This is okay. It's like a steal your thing, act of treason kind of effect. Yeah, I often don't play those. This is good if you're going wide. If you're trying to play like a red-white go wide deck, this combos well with like the 1 white 2/2 that pumps all your creatures when you attack. Otherwise, I don't usually like to play that kind of card. Power 4 or greater is the red-green theme, so this is good if you're doing that. Otherwise, it's 2 mana 2/2 that'll turn on sometimes. Another one of these guys. I like this card, all right. 5 mana 4/4 that deals 2 if you attack this turn. The Phoenix I like as well. 3 mana 2/2 flying haste. It comes back as well if you have power 4 or greater, but I'd happily just play this for 3 mana 2/2 flying haste. That's a fine card. The Dragon Trainer is nice as well. A 5 mana that gives you a 4/4 plus. It gives you this 1/1 body. If you can flicker it, bring it back to your hand, raise dead at something, you can keep getting your 4/4. So that's pretty nice. A red is looking great. XRR deal X damage, but you get a bunch of tokens if it has more. So this is a nice removal spell that also can give you some bodies. This is an okay creature. Nothing super special with this one, but makes stuff not block. Fine if you have a lot of mana. 3 mana 2/2 flyer. This card's okay. It pings something for 1. Combat trick, another Goblin Surprise. So many Goblin Surprises. And then our Electric Duplicate. Our red looks solid. It's got some removal spells, and it has our big 7 mana bomb. So everything we can get to 7 mana, which you often can once again sealed. That is the way to go. Let's look at green, which is much thinner by comparison. We do have a fight spell / land search spell, but at the beginning, we've got this 4 power or greater. I get a +1/+1 counter card. A removal spell, a ramp spell. There you go, notable. 2 mana 3/1 that surveils 1. This card's okay filler. Giant Growth, I like that. Giant Growth is always solid in this kind of environment. More. Another ramp spell, it's okay. Kicker spell, 5-drop, and this, yeah, our green does not look deep enough to me. We do have a couple removal spells, but I just don't think there's enough here that you would be super excited about playing. Although I do appreciate the ramp spells with our Chandra. Let's take a look at our artifacts, see if anything catches our eye here. This is a 2 mana 0/4 that dies into a treasure. It's a fine filler card if you're playing a more defensive deck. If you're playing a more aggressive deck, I like the Adventuring Gear that gives a creature +2/+2 when you play a land. Juggernaut, 4 mana 5/3 that has to attack each turn. This card is okay filler if you need it. The +2/+0 and first strike, a fine card if you're being more aggressive. And then Campus Guide can help fix your mana. I always like this kind of card. The gold cards are always helpful being signposts, maybe point you in a direction because they're often quite strong and are 2 colors. Let's see what we have here. This is a blue-black kind of controlling card if you want to walk down that strategy. Enters or attacks, you get to loot, and then it gets bigger if you have enough cards in your graveyard. It's okay. We have the Fiendish Panda here. Now, black-white if you're doing some life gain stuff. This card is nice. It gets bigger as you gain life, and then you get to bring something back when it dies. It's okay. Then we have this Artist here. It's a 3 mana 3/2 Death Touch. And during your end step, if you attack this turn, you kind of do what we call Tormenting, where your opponent either loses 3 life, sacks an online permanent, or discards a card. I'd say all these cards are fine if we end up in those colors. None of them are like so wildly strong that you have to play them. And we'll call out we have 5 mana fixing lands here. We have these 4 dual lands that we'll play maybe to splash or to play our colors, or this Evolving Wilds, which can of course get anything. I think that will almost certainly make our deck. Wow, well, we got some tough choices here. I mean, kind of looking at what we have, I think our green is just a little bit too on the weak side. There's not enough pulling us here, so I'm just going to go ahead and eliminate our green. So I could imagine you play a red-green deck that's all about growing from the ashes to try and ramp up to Chandra, but I don't think that a little bit of ramp is worth playing what is a pretty unsubstantial color. So I'm going to set that off to the side here. So for me, it's really between these 4 colors to choose from. And the big question is, do we just want to try and go for this long game plan? Right now, when you're building a sealed deck, you always want to think about what your plan is. And if you have Chandra in your deck, this tells me I'm not playing an aggressive plan, right? I am trying to play a longer game. So for example, if I end up playing red, I'm going to play Chandra for sure. Cards like Sure Strike, cards like Goblin Surprise that are about kind of killing people fast, probably not the cards I'm going to want to play with because these are cards that point toward a faster game. So you want to think of kind of the speed of your deck. So there is probably a version of my deck that is red-white and plays some of these cheap creatures and uses stuff like Dauntless Veteran to pump them all up. But that is not going to really pair with the Chandra as well. Where by comparison, if I build like a slower red-blue deck and I am playing some blockers, like I could even imagine playing this turtle in this kind of deck, and some flyers, kind of get off the ground a little bit, this is a deck that will go long. So, I can even imagine playing like blue, black, red, and you get all these removal spells, you get some life gain on the vampire, like that kind of thing could all work out. Blue, black, red, I will call out, because it does give us 2 different gold cards, which is pretty exciting. But I do think, the thing about our red is not only do we have the 7 mana bomb that wins us the game instantaneously, so, or we'll likely do something along those lines at least, kill off a bunch of their creatures, but we also have some pretty solid cards. Right? We've got a couple of these Whelps, which is awesome. We have the Heartfire Immolator. We've got this card that draws us cards, essentially. We've got good stuff up and down our mana curve. My guess is red is where we're going to want to be, and it just doesn't matter what to pair with that. I think it's not going to end up being white, because our white stuff is a little more on the aggressive side, and while it does have one card that is quite strong that I like in the Celestial Armor, a lot of the other stuff is pretty on the fillery side, so I'm going to eliminate white. So now we're left with red, blue, black. Now what I'm going to do is, I can imagine building with any of these. My most likely candidate, I think, is blue and red. I think they're both pretty deep. I think blue's got the big 6-mana flyer, which really complements our bomb well, because it also digs us deeper to find our Chandra. It's also got these 3-mana flyers that I like, and the blue-red is a prowess strategy, which is pretty cool. But I could imagine a world where we end up going red-black, and I could imagine a world where we end up actually splashing some cards using our mana-fixing lands. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start with red-blue, but I'm going to set these cards over to the side for a second. I'm going to start laying cards out in our mana curve and just kind of seeing what our mana curve looks like. That'll always is pretty insightful. So let's just lay out our cards here. So we have Heartfire Immolator as a 2-drop, Chandra as a 7-drop. I'm going to play these Whelps for sure. So kind of putting out the cards I think I'm likely to play. I think I'd probably play this Gorehorn Raider. If you trigger it, deals 2 damage. So it's kind of like a removal spell, which is pretty nice. I'll play the Phoenix, absolutely. I'll definitely play this Dragon Trainer, which is a great card. This Goblin Negotiation is here. I could imagine playing Sower of Chaos, although not necessarily. I'll play another one of these Whelps. Look at all these flyers. Flyers in red, who would have thought? These are the cards that are like the strongest probably. I doubt I'm going to play these Involuntary Employments because they're not particularly good with my go long strategy. So I'll set those off here to the side. The Goblin Surprises I would also be a little, well, surprised to play because we're not really going wide. And 3 mana for 2/1/1s is not really where I want to be that much. I could imagine playing this Courageous Goblin just as a 2-mana 2/2. You know, one of the easiest ways to win limited is to have just a good curve and play cards on every turn. But also, even in a defensive deck, keep in mind that 2-mana 2/2 still trades with their 2-mana creature. So I don't mind having them around. I think the Electric Duplicate is probably going to be a little on the weak side for us. I guess that is quite good with the Dragon Trainer and maybe the Gorehorn Raider and the Strongbox Raider. I guess I could believe this card has a shot. I'll put it down as a maybe. I would probably not play the Firebrand. I could imagine playing 1 Sure Strike for a defensive combat trick, but not sure about it. Okay, now let's take a look at our blue and how this complements it. So I'm going to see if it fills in the curve, kind of does some good stuff for us. So let's see what we might want to play here. Well, I like all these Mocking Sprites, though we already have a decent amount of 3-drop flying. I do like the Essence Scatter I like like I said, I like these Mocking Sprites. It's pretty good. Here's our 6-drop Curator of Destinies. I usually group my 6s and 7s together because they both are like these come out in the long game. Play all these Mocking Sprites. Yes. I don't mind the 1-mana cantrip here. It digs you closer to your strongest cards. If we were... Man, this Micromancer is a pretty cool card. It's a sorcery that costs 1, but their only one being the Fleeting Distraction. It's kind of a tough sell for me. Do we have enough card draw for this Homunculus Horde? I'm going to guess the answer is no, unfortunately. Yeah, we don't think we can quite pull this off. Which is too bad, because it's a fun card. I could imagine playing this Light Shell Duo. It's okay. 4 mana, 3/4, Prowess, enter, Surveil 2. We don't have enough second draw really to pull this off. I can place Elementals to Adept. So actually looking at our red-blue, I mean, besides these flyers, which red already shores us up on pretty well, a lot of these other cards don't really hit that much for us, despite being individually strong, because just drawing the second card each turn is kind of hard for us to pull off. Maybe we could go back to it, but let's take a look at what our red-black deck looks like. Okay, so in red-black, we're getting a bunch of removal, which is nice. We have to play this Vampire Nighthawk, which I really love. This Vengeful Blood Witch, a totally fine card on turn 2. We have to play Eaten Alive, which I'm going to count as a 5-drop removal spell. We get this Stromkirk Bloodchief, which if we were more aggressive, putting counters on vampires, it can be strong. I can imagine playing 2 of those maybe. Definitely play all of our stabs. So I'll drop that stab down over here. I could imagine playing Hungry Ghoul as well. So red-black is a sacrifice strategy. I will call out with Hungry Ghoul, those active treasons, the 4-mana steal your creature effect, does get a lot more palatable. Because you can steal their thing and then sacrifice it here, which is kind of nice. We have Fake Your Own Death, which is a trick. I could imagine playing over Sure Strike. This looks okay. You do get to play a bunch of removal. You get to play a long game. A little short on card advantage, which is to be expected from a red-black deck, although we do have this Strongbox Raider. Now, then it gets me wondering, I guess I would also play this Perforating Artist. Then this does get me wondering about the red blue black deck. We just play the best of all worlds, and we have some mana fixing, right? We've got the Dismal Backwater, we've got the Evolving Wilds, so it's not totally out of question. We can even play this Campus Guide that is right here, if we want to help fix our mana. So could imagine something like this. We're way over on the number of cards we need. But let's just lay out what the Grixis color combination looks like here. So I do notice we have way too many 3-drops if we go down that path. Yeah. We can play the Micromancer to find Stab now, which is kind of nice. And we can play this Dreadwing Scavenger. So we'd want to splash one of these colors. We want to go all into it. I feel like what I would do if I was to go down this path is I would splash like this Dreadwing Scavenger. Yeah, and then I'd probably, I mean, this would be the other card I would splash, but it's blue on the symbols, so I'm a little less inclined to do it. Yeah, I think probably not that. I think probably red-black does look the most appealing here. I mean, I can think about, is there anything else I want to take a look at? I really think our green is not going to do it, y'all. I just think that the ramp spells to get the Chandra is not going to be worth it. Our white is okay with the cantrips. It digs you closer to finding Chandra. It's got, some decent cheap stuff, but I don't think that's probably going to be the way to go. I mean, I can lay out the white, I guess. I always, you'll have a lot of time in deck building, so I never mind experimenting. But I would be surprised if white is the direction we want to take this deck. I'll pull all these cards out, though, and we'll just at least, we'll run the experiment. So that would be this 3-drop here, get this Joust through here. I lay my cards I'm going to play on the turn. I play them up, by the way, in case you aren't familiar with that part of the process. So you play all these Helpful Hunters, which is cool. You do get the Celestial Armor, which is great. You get this Sunblessed Healer, you get this Cat Collector, you get this Helpful Hunter. Right. So basically it's just like cantrip with the Helpful Hunter into eventually drawing your bigger stuff. I don't hate it. I mean, it doesn't look horrendous, but I think I'd rather just take the black. You get better quality removal, I feel. You get better quality removal spells. You get the Vampire Nighthawk, which is really strong. I get that the Celestial Armor is incredibly powerful, but I think I'd rather go with the black here. Although I could see the argument for white. I certainly could. If you want to build it, you can let me know in the comments if you prefer that. So I'm gonna lay this out. Okay, so now we're looking at red-black, and now we gotta choose which cards we want to play with. Now we definitely have too many 3-drops, for example. We're gonna cut some of those down. We gotta cut a lot of cards out of this deck. We're once again want about 23 spells in our deck to complement our 17 lands. And I will call out that while I did remove them initially, because we are going red-black, I can imagine playing a Voluntary Employment potentially, because it is very good with our 2 Eaten Alives and our 2 Hungry Ghouls. Even makes a treasure right away. So if you steal their creature, it refunds you the mana, so you can then Eaten Alive with it or something like that. So I can imagine playing, I probably wouldn't play it 2, but I could definitely imagine playing one of these. Other cards over here I could imagine playing. I mean, maybe I could play the Campus Guide if I needed 2-drop. Adventuring Gear is okay. It's like +2/+2 sometimes. I think probably not for this deck, though. So this is, I think, what I would be looking at. So let's see how many cards this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then we're 5 cards over. So we're 5 cards over from what we have, and we need to cut some. So let's work on cutting some cards. So the next thing I do, I learned this trick from my friend Brian Wong, who's excellent at Limited, is I pull up all the cards that I might only think are maybes, right? So I keep all the cards down that I know I'm going to want to play, so then I can kind of add cards to taste based on what's left. So let's pull up all the cards that are maybes. I think I'm always going to play my 3 stabs. These 2 tricks, less so. Electric Duplicate, less so. Involuntary Explosion, less so. I think I'm always going to play these 2 Eaten Alives. They are kind of clunky removal spells, but even in sealed, I think you usually want those. I'm going to always play this Goblin Negotiation. Always going to play these. Might not play this. Might not play both these. I think I'm going to play all these flyers. Might not play this. I think I'll always play this Draining card. Might not play these Hungry Ghouls. Might not play this Courageous Goblin. Okay. So now we have a ton of room to play around with, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I get 6 of these cards. So I'm going to kind of look for ways to fill. So the first thing I'm going to think about is 2-drops. I definitely want at least 5 2-drops to kind of fill up my curve. So this Goblin, I think, is going to be a little on the weak side for us. I mean, you've got this card as a card with 4 more power. You have these cards that generate 4 or more power. But I think I'd probably rather have the Hungry Ghoul, so I can do some sacrifice stuff. So I'll play the 2 Hungry Ghouls for those. And I guess it's either, I guess you could talk about the Courageous Goblin or the Campus Guide. I probably will end up playing one of those two. We'll come back to that in a second. I think I do want to play 1 Act of Treason to go along. I don't think I want to go all the way to playing 2, but with 2 Hungry Ghouls, with 2 Eaten Alives, it's just so powerful. If you steal their creature with voluntary employment and then Eaten Alive, sacking the creature to kill their other creature, that's going to be game a lot of the time. So maybe I should play 2. Is that wild? Is that absolutely ridiculous? I mean, I have these 2 Hungry Ghouls too. The problem is you just don't want this card stranded in your hand because it's so bad if you don't draw one of these 4 cards and have it ready to go. I think I do only want to play 1, but I could imagine playing a second. I think I'm going to stick to 1 though. I think Electric Duplicate is not going to end up being the card for this deck. It is good with both these, but I don't think it's doing enough with the stuff over here, so I'm going to get it out. I don't think this is super... I definitely don't want the Sure Strike. I mean, I could imagine the Fake Your Own Death for a combat trick. It is good with the Dragon Trader and the Strongbox Raider, admittedly. Lets you sack something and bring it back. Maybe we play this. I think we have enough persistent sources of damage that playing one of these Blood Thieves is okay. It is so good with the Nighthawk. Works great with the Vengeful Blood Witch. We already need another 2-drop. I guess is it either the Campus Guide? I think I'll just play the Campus Guide just because this deck wants to hit land drops to get up here. It lets you keep a little sketchier hand sometimes if you need to. And I'm just not going to trigger that. Like, really only these 3 cards trigger the +1 and Menace on that. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 22 cards. We're going to have to play one of these 3. One of these 4. And I will pull back out the second Employment because, man, it is just so powerful with the Eaten Alives. That's such a good combo. So yeah, I think it's alright. Not the Goblin is going to be the choice here. I know that the Campus Guide is weaker on stats, but just the ability to fix your mana and make sure you don't miss your land drops and sealed. An easy way to lose is to just miss your land drops, and that always make sure you can find it. You don't have to search if you don't want to. So one of these guys, I already have 6 3-drops, and while this Blood Sheaf does sound very strong with the Nighthawk, it's like a strong if you're winning kind of card. I don't know that we necessarily need it. I don't think I'm going to play the second one. I think, man, I might be talking myself into playing the second Involuntary Employment. It is just so powerful with Eaten Alive. 5 mana, spend these 2 cards to kill both your creatures is just a powerhouse. Powerhouse maneuver. Do I dare? Do I dare do it? I don't know. I could see it either way. One of these guys. I could just play another 4-drop. This is such a fillery card, but it is an okay 4-drop to kind of fill the curve. Although another 3-drop does, 3-drops can just be played as 4-drops when you get to stab something if you need to. I don't know. I'm really thinking about this Voluntary Employment. I think it's not going to be the Fake Your Own Death. I think this is not like a super combat trick necessary deck. If it came back under your control, by the way, instead of its owner's control, I'd be a lot more inclined to play it with the Employment, but alright, whatever. I'm just going to do it. It's a pre-release, right? I'm here to have fun. Let's try out this Voluntary Employment. And I could imagine swapping these 2 if I wanted to. I want to play the Blood Thief because it does snowball in a really nice way. But yeah, I think this is a pretty solid deck. So, I would then play, where'd that Evolving Wilds go? We don't have the red-black land, but I would still play the Evolving Wilds here. I know that you are only 2 colors, but you have red symbols and black symbols and red here, right? I usually try not to play red and black 3-drops in the same deck if I can avoid it. So I think you're gonna want this mana fixing for sure. And so I'd play this, and then I'd probably split evenly, is my guess. Yeah, I'd probably just go 8 mountains, 8 swamps, and that's the deck. But how would you build it? Would you have gone a different color combination? Would you have, would you play a second Involuntary Employment? You let me know what you think in the comments down below, but I hope that you found this process helpful to you. And go out and enjoy your pre-release, everybody. Have a lot of fun with Foundations. We really loved making this set. It's kind of a love letter to Magic, and hope you have a great time with it too. All right, everyone. I'll talk with you again soon. And until then, enjoy the set of Foundations, enjoy your pre-release, and have fun. And remember, you got this.